This is your forecast for 2010, brought to you by InsightfulAstrology.com. 2010 is a magnificent transitional year for you, Aquarius. That's because we have a rare change of signs through the ruling planets for you. You're ruled by Saturn and Aquarius. And these two planets are really oppositional forces by nature. Saturn wants structure and wants to play by the rules, but Uranus wants to break free from all those rules and set its own rules. Well, this year, Saturn and Uranus are both changing signs, moving into different signs for a part of the year and dipping back into the signs that they were in 2009 for the rest of the year. So this will give you a taste of what's to come, while also forcing you to wrap up some lessons in the past, especially things that you've dealt with in 2009. Like I said, transition is the name of the theme for this year for you. Let's talk about what happens when Saturn and Uranus are going to oppose each other. It happens on April 26th, and in your second house and in your eighth house. These are the money houses of the zodiac. So this final opposition in this part of your chart will bring a culmination in lessons that have to do with finances and in restructuring your financial landscape. Expect some old patterns of money making to end and some new opportunities to arise. You may have to let go of the fact that you can't always be the rebel that you want to be when it comes to your budget and money, and you really do have to pay attention to some rules and some structure. And although you may not like that, it could be a time of reckoning with finances for you. Then Saturn will also oppose Uranus on July 26th, but this time it'll be in your third house and your ninth house. This is your communication axis. This is the part of your chart that's all about your mind and how you communicate to others, and also how you learn and how you assimilate information and then disseminate that information out into the world. The Saturn-Uranus opposition there says that you're going to really break free of some old, outworn ideas and thought patterns and embrace some new and revolutionary ones. So that's pretty exciting. I do have to tell you that with Saturn in your ninth house for most of the year, except for April 7th until July 21st, you will be forced to really focus what you believe in. You will be forced to come to terms with crystallizing your morals and your ethics, and you're going to be held accountable for your beliefs in a whole new way. Remember, Saturn's your co-ruler. You're also ruled by Uranus. So these two planets are very important in your horoscope, no matter what. Saturn in your ninth will demand major lessons. You may have a lot of restrictions about expressing yourself until you truly crystallize what it is that you want to say to others and focus your information out into the world. You may be forced to learn something new, and it's a really good time to study a subject in depth, maybe to go back to school for an advanced degree, because Saturn does give you a depth to your mind, an ability to learn difficult subjects and to master them. It can also restrict you and make you kind of afraid of learning something. So you have to overcome that. Once you do, I'm telling you, you can learn anything. Your mind is sharp, a lot sharper than you give yourself credit for. Now, when it comes to relationships, Aquarius, Mars, the planet of energy, will be retrograde in your seventh house of relationship as we begin the new year and until March 10th. What this tells me is that love is an absolute battleground for you in the beginning of the year. You're fighting with your spouse or partner. You really want your own way. You are impatient. You're just tired. It's all about you for once. You're sick and tired of compromising. And you're internalizing a lot of this anger since Mars is retrograde. Once Mars turns direct on the 10th, I see an explosion, possibly until June. It could really take until June for you to work things out with your spouse or partner. So have a little more patience if you can, because I do see the potential for you to work things through. It's just, you both have to be willing to meet each other halfway. And I can't predict whether or not you will both be willing to do that. But if you are, then I'm sure after June you'll be able to mend things a lot better. Now, Venus, the planet of love and harmony, will be retrograde from October 8th until November 18th. And this will affect you in family, relationships, and work. Okay, so now this will be a time when you'll have to go back to some some issues with family and work and resolve them with the Venus retrograde. Your relationships with your clan is going to be really important. Now, career and money, Pluto is the ruler of your 10th house, and this planet is going to be making some tense squares to Saturn on January 31st and August 21st. And I see some potential legal or ethical matters pertaining to career that you have to sort out. There's something that's kind of blocking you, some kind of authority, some kind of rule or structure, and you might be wrapped up in something around these dates that you do have to get through. And it's about yielding to the authority and accepting your restrictions. And you don't want to accept them because you want to be in control of them, but that's not always realistic. So you have to kind of know your place around this time, okay, Aquarius? As far as finances go, we have some good news and some bad news. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, will be in your second house of earned income from January 17th until June 6th. And this will be a time where you can expect money to come to you in a really easy flowing way. The only issue is that Saturn, the planet of restriction, will give your 8th house some last licks from April 7th to July 21st. And the 8th house rules money that comes to you from sources other than your own income. So you might have some restriction to deal with when it comes to loans or debts or some financial obligations to tie up. So Jupiter will bring the money in, but Saturn in your 8th might make it go to pay all your bills just as quickly as it came in. But in the end, Aquarius, that's a good place to be, considering the state of affairs and the fluctuations that you've had in finances over the past couple of years. At least you're making the money to pay the bills and you're not in any trouble. So again, 2010, your year of transition. Let's see what happens as you make these changes.